Zero season 3 episode 22 starts now. You know what I've realized, guys? No other podcast starts like this podcast. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But hello, I am Brandon Davis, joined today by Aaron Perrine.
What's going on, y'all? It really doesn't. No other podcast really does start like our podcast.
We got Jenna Anderson in the building.
Hey, everybody. And especially hello to Talk Dog, who's apparently watching live for the first time. We always love to see that. So
welcome to the live show. We got Jamie Drabrack.
Good morning. Welcome to a world where all of your favorite television shows have been snapped away from Thanos. We're living in a new world.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Wamsgam supremacy, baby. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts historically. I have recently started listening to podcasts, and when I said no podcast, like people, do you guys listen to a lot of podcasts?
I do, yeah.
I don't.
They all start with like, okay. See, I'd probably be better at this if I listened to more podcasts, but like I listen to these podcasts, and most of them start with like a pre-taped little like today's show we're going to do this and that, and then it's brought to you by this person, and they're really calm and organized, and they sound really clean, and I'm just out here yelling like a buffoon to start every show. Thank you for dealing with us, letting us blow out your speakers in the car every Wednesday. We love you for it. But yeah, I need to listen to more podcasts. There's some really good podcasts out there. Thank you for choosing us, everybody. But yeah, so we're not, all this to say, nothing is going to change. I'm still going to yell Face Hero every Wednesday. Okay, so last night, Aaron and I went over to the red carpet for the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse premiere. And I just want to hear from Aaron because I haven't even had a chance to talk to Aaron. I hopped over on the carpet for a bit to talk to Aaron while he was doing some interviews and stuff. And it looked like he was having a great time. And I saw some awesome celebrities out there. But Aaron, I mean, tell us about your night.
So I think that's probably the first carpet we've done. It's not like the NBA Finals carpet. It's very, very different. So like we get down there, me and shout out to Zach, our lovely camera person from over at ET, helping us out, get the coverage for all of you. We get settled. We're like, okay, we got the lay of the land. We're kind of near the mid part of the carpet, so you don't know who's actually going to show, who's actually going to make it all the way down there.
Hey, shout out to Sony. That was a pretty good spot. We appreciate that.
We appreciate that. I was like, what? We've been further back.
We've
been in Kansas before. It's happened.
On Moon Knight, Jim and I were literally last.
Woo! Yikes. Oh my God.
Yes.
Jim just cried. Like, are we going to get to see Oscar Isaac? Layla, I'm sorry. You can tune out now. I didn't get to talk to him. I had daddy questions. I had everything for you. Here's my friend Layla. Would you like to say hi? And he did not. He did not show up. His brooding, wonderful mug. So we're sitting there. You talk to some of the publicists. Like, we're getting there early to make sure that they're like going to make their way back to you. But you hope that they do. And everybody kept their promises. So thank you, any of the publicists that are watching that like had their clients come talk to us. We really appreciate it. I got to talk to Peter Ramsey, who directed the first movie and is the executive producer on this one. And he seemed just thrilled and kind of overwhelmed to see all the stuff because the carpet is overflowing with both like fans and media and talent. So there's literally like 5 feet away from me, like Daniel Kaluuya giving an interview, and then like a kid doing like a cartwheel in a Spider-Man 2099 costume, which is just delightful to see. All the directors are really tripped out by that, by the way. We talked before during the interview last week about like the sort of impact it's had with seeing all these kids with their different spider sonas or like kids in costumes of characters you would never have seen like 15 years ago. There's like a Spider Gwen out there doing flips. I saw a bunch of Spider Punks, Miles's, of course, and they were really like, Joaquin DeSantos, Justin Thompson, and Kemp, they really, really done something really special for a lot of the younger viewers. So it was fun talking to them, laughing with them about that stuff. We also had just random, like, other celebrities from other stuff. Like, Aldous Hodge, God bless you, brother, wherever you are. Your muscles look fantastic. He wandered over. I don't know why he was there. I had to ask him to talk to James Gunn about being Hawkman again. That'll be up on the site later. You'll see what he says.
Aaron, I'm so jealous.
I
Yeah,
know.
What-
me
hold
too.
on, no. What did
Me
he
too.
say? What did he say?
You have to check the website to find out.
we're gonna put the video. He seemed enthused. He's not done.
Okay.
He doesn't seem to want to be done wearing the wings, and I enjoyed his take on that. And it obviously means a lot to him. He said the representation in Spider-Verse meant a lot to him too. To see people like us see ourselves on screen. I talked to Stephen Amell, who just wandered through with his kids and then saw a comic book and made like a beeline for us because he's like, I know you. I know your kind. You failed this carpet. He was delightful. He was great. I love talking to him. He seemed very proud of the Arrowverse and what they've done. He revealed some special details about that last episode of The Flash that I was not aware of. That interview's coming up as well. So I got most of the Spider people. I didn't get all of the Spider people. So shout out to Ty Cole, who's right next to me for Baller Alert, who knows like Issa Rae, has talked to Issa Rae a bunch of times. So he singled her down. And we talked about Jessica Jones and how different Jessica Jones is and how different it is from like awkward black girl to like being in Spider-Verse and how insane it is. I also was like, please, if I talk to you at Barbie, please come say hi. She's like, oh, I will. I totally will. So that was fun. Brian Tyree Henry, just amazing.
Just so nobody gets confused, I know what you meant, but I will make sure everybody in the comment section knows you meant Jessica Drew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it was. No,
Yeah,
I don't
she's
think Jessica Jones was.
Oh, sorry. We're on the Marvel
Jessica's-
podcast, people.
Yeah.
I figure most people might catch it, but I think there's probably somebody who might be listening that's just like, wait a second.
Type it right now in the comments.
Wait a
It's up to
second.
me. I'm sorry.
Somebody
no,
just
no,
stops
you're
their
good.
car and it's
False
like, that's not
alarm.
Jessica Jones.
Listen, Miss Ritter drove by and was like, I'm not coming back.
Exclusive.
Right. Listen, I'm going on another hike. So we talked to Mr. Henry about Eternals because I told them that Jim Biscardi would throw me into the middle of traffic. I did not ask him about that, so we have that coming up for you as well. He really seems to be really emotionally like invested in like, man, raising a teenager is very hard, and that sort of resonates. So if you have kids and you go to see Spider-Verse, you'll get that. But we talked to Chloe Velez, I'm trying to think of who else. Like, there's a bunch of other people that rolled by, and after a while, I was like, I needed to sit down. You know that meme of the lady sitting out the side of the Popeyes, just hunched over. That was the after the carpet was done. I'm like,
They had, for the people working the carpet, they had buckets of water bottles.
Wow.
Like ice buckets of water bottles, which is a lot more than a lot of studios
Yeah.
provide for a red carpet. Red carpets are usually just sweaty hog pits. Like
Yes.
it gets so uncomfortable working a red carpet sometimes. But yeah, that was nice of them. I
I'm
saw
not
Russell
sorry.
Westbrook out there and Draymond Green.
yo,
Wiz
Draymond
Khalifa?
and Russell Westbrook and Wiz Khalifa just walking by, and I was like, what in the world? What's going on right now? I'm like, yo, is Russell Westbrook in this movie? I didn't know. The
Spider
best
baller.
fashion, right? Spider Brody. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. I got to talk to a lot more people than maybe I like imagined. I was like, I hope not everybody blows me off. You just don't want to be the person at media day where no one comes up to you, and then you're like, oh, here's one person. I feel
So who was
terrible.
your favorite interview?
Oh, Issa was really good.
Yeah.
She was really good. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that was like super fun. Daniel Pemberton and me talked about freaking India House from 1980s, like India House that inspired Mumbai. He's the composer of Spider-Verse. He's in a very, very, let's say, colorful suit. And I was like, I want to talk to that man about weird electronic music for like an hour and a half, but just won't let me. Gotta keep moving. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. I had to look back through and see who we actually got to talk to because there was people.
I saw Tom Rothman walk over and I saw him say, "We ain't talking about Spider-Man 4."
That did happen to me
Wow.
too. I got spun for real. I was like, oh,
Wow.
and Brandon's like, it happens to everybody, man. It happens to everybody.
You gotta use that. The first question, you gotta butter him up. You gotta butter him up. Be like, listen, I love this movie. Talk to me about this movie, and then the next one be like, but also,
That
Spider-Man 4.
publicist saw me and was like, oh, you're the enemy. Like, she's like, yo, one out of you. And I was like, oh man, like, okay, all right.
Oh no. Well, that's great. And yeah, your Amy Pascal moment that has happened to all of us. That has
I was
happened to all of
talking
us.
directors. Their publicist said, "Oh yeah, we'll get you your." And then once I started talking to like literally, Joaquin said one thing, and he just started walking, and my brain's like, "No, please stop!
That's it.
Please stop! Don't
I
go!"
re- Is that the first time that's happened to you and you're doing an interview and you miss the other person who you
Oh
really need to talk
yeah,
to?
that's like it's never been that sad. It's never
Oh,
been in my mind in black
it's
and
tough,
white.
dude. It's tough.
That's
I
happened to
remember-
me.
I will say
It's
that's almost
worse.
better. Like when I was on the She-Hulk carpet, like Ruffalo and Tatiana just like walked by and didn't really like talk to the last half of the carpet, and we weren't talking to anyone else. So we're all just kind of standing there, like looking at them and waving. It's almost better, I would think, to have another interview be going on while you're being ghosted.
Oh,
But I don't
God.
know.
I had my first time at CinemaCon. It was like one of my first red carpets. I was like, I have learned you have to say no to some people if you see somebody you really want to interview is coming down the line. I used to be afraid to do that because I was like, oh man, I don't want to upset the publicist. I don't want to be disrespectful to the person who's here, But if the director of some movie that that isn't going to hit well for our site is right there, and then Margot Robbie's next to them, well, okay, I got to pass on this director. But at CinemaCon, the director of Central Intelligence. Awesome guy, Rawson Thurber. I love Central Intelligence, by the way.
I love that movie so much.
Such a good
The
movie.
Rock's best performance.
Yeah, that and Pain and Gain. But I'm talking to him, and Jared Leto is doing Suicide Squad interviews for the first time, and he passed me because I was talking to the Central Intelligence director, and I'll never forget that moment.
I think that you honestly had the best, better deal of that situation.
Jim, thank you for not eliminating Brandon for doing that. Thank you for having us have a podcast.
Yeah, seriously.
Wait, Jamie,
what
was yours?
I can't think of the specific example, but it definitely happened to me at Willow. But I have to tell you, I this last week I did the carpet for The Machine, the new Burt Kreischer movie, but it wasn't actually a carpet. I was stationed in the middle of a pre-party right across from the DJ. So, but it was hilarious. I'm standing in front of a food truck with a giant sign that just says comic book. So like, it was not clear that I was like about to interview people. The publicists knew, so they would bring people over to me. But because I was just in the middle of a party standing next to a comic book sign, 30 people came up to me. There's a Machine comic? Bert has a comic? What's the comic? And I had to be like, no, that's not what I'm here for. There's no comic I can give you. It was really funny, but also it was a fun idea, but they didn't think it through, I don't think. And Mark Hamill wasn't there, so that was a bummer. But I got to talk to Bert, and he was lovely.
What an absolute week the Phase Zero crew is having.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this.
I know. I got nothing going on.
Just send Tatiana a carrier pigeon.
We gotta get something fired up in Chicago. Come on, Hollywood. Bring something to Chi-Town. Or let's get Jenna to LA more often.
Yeah.
Jim.
Yes.
Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse reviews are extremely positive. 96% through 50. We're finally allowed to rank it. I'm at like a high 9 on this one. It's very, very good. Aaron, are you willing to give this are you ready and willing to give this a number ranking? I'm so close to 10, but I just feel like because it's a part 1, I just feel uncomfortable giving it a 10. I don't know, man.
I'm so afraid of being a homer. Like I'm emotionally compromised, but I'd be in the 9.5, 10 range too. I really.
It drives me crazy that you do out of 10 because the comic book way and the letterbox way is out of 5. So I'm like, why? What's with those extra 5 numbers?
4.5 then, Jamie, just so you can. So
I'll be honest,
it doesn't flare up. I'm sorry.
When I do my number rankings, I think of like when you're in school, like the letter grade out of 100, basically.
Okay.
Like to me, I'd give Spider-Verse an A+. And if I give it like anything less than a 6.5 is a bad review in my opinion. Like it's an F. But a 6.8, that's a D+. Okay, it's passing grade. So that's kind of how if anybody's wondering how I rank my films, that's kind of what I think about when I give it an out of 10 score. Yeah. But yeah,
it's been our comprehensive breakdown of how comic book rates things.
Yeah.
I don't even write reviews anymore. Because I think that when we do the interviews, you really probably shouldn't write reviews because it's kind of a weird balance there. Like if I have to review Venom and then walk in and talk to Ruben Fleischer, I've been in that position before. It's awkward. And I just don't like, and you also, when you talk to them, you also might not want to say something critical or something. So I like to separate it. I like how comic book has really started separating the interviewer versus the reviewer, and I think a lot of sites do that. I think that's a good thing. But yeah, Spider-Verse is at a 96%. People are really digging it. I'm looking at a couple negative reviews. Kyle Logan from Cultured Vultures says, Across the Spider-Verse is beautiful and tells an interesting story, but would have been far better suited to a serialized medium. Okay. Tim Roby, Daily Telegraph. It gets drunk on itself, sometimes sad drunk to the brink of a hangover, slurrily outstaying its welcome. I don't agree with these, but I do see what they're saying. Second watch, I thought it ran on a little bit because it does. Maybe I was just so annoyed that it doesn't have a full-on ending, but I don't know. I'm not critical of this film, so don't let what I'm saying right now come off as me thinking it's a negative review or anything. I think the film is phenomenal. But yeah, it's interesting that there's a few negative reviews because I think the movie just has so much to love. Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is that what a weird bit of phrasing, like drunk on itself. I'm like, fam, are you all right? Like, what's going on? But yeah, there are gonna be a couple like negative reviews in there. Liam pointed out that this thing has a higher Rotten Tomatoes than No Way Home, and that's staggering.
It's a better movie than No Way Home, and it's not close.
Wow.
Ooh. Now see, that's hot.
No Way Home. Listen, I'll say this: No Way Home was just an incredible theater experience. It is an absolute blast of a movie, but that plot is very good. Like as soon as I left and digested, I was like, "Man, this plot is very convenient. This plot is very. It comes together real nicely for the sake of a story that came out of nowhere."
Sometimes
I'm in my critical era, guys. Listen, I'm in my 2023. I'm just criticizing everything. I don't know, man. I think No Way Home it's a great movie. I love it, but I do think that plot, this one has a more sensible plot than No Way Home does.
What I'm hearing is upcoming Spider-Man rankings episode. Why did I say that? Why did I say that publicly?
Yeah.
I hate myself. It came out of my mouth.
You just
regretting it.
do yourself, basically.
So do we wait for after Beyond the Spider-Verse, or do we do it before? I think after Beyond the Spider-Verse.
I mean, because that's like over a year out, isn't it? Like
9 months.
Tentatively, unless they delay it again. So I don't know. Maybe we could wait.
It's
or maybe
already
we could...
shot, isn't it? Isn't it already in the can?
Hopefully.
I thought they shot these back to back.
March 2024 is when that one's dropping.
Okay.
Not too far. All right. We have one more thing to talk about. This is a big one, guys. Avengers Tower. So I got to host a Daredevil panel. First of all, a couple people came up to me at the Daredevil panel in Nashville with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio when it was over. They said, they only heard about this panel because they heard me talk about it on Phase Zero. They drove out from West Virginia. Shout out to everybody who came out to the panel down there at ICC Con in Nashville and had a good time at the Daredevil panel. Thank you so much for being there and saying hello. Love you guys. That means a lot to me. It means a ton. And I see Phil almost got to drive up in the comment section. Phil, wish you could have made it, but hopefully we can do more of these in the future. But I want to talk a little bit about this panel. I flat out during the panel looked Vincent D'Onofrio dead in the face, peed down my leg a little, and said, "Did Wilson Fisk buy Avengers Tower?" And he was startled, and he said, "What?" And he made me repeat the question. It's the only question I had to repeat the whole panel. And I said, "Did Wilson Fisk buy Avengers Tower?" And he said, "I didn't realize we were up here with a real journalist." And I was like, oh, okay. So which one is it, Big Willie? And he didn't answer. But interestingly enough, the day or 2 days after this panel, My Cosmic Circus ran a story that says Mephisto bought Avengers Tower, and we're going to see that soon. Why would Mephisto buy Avengers Tower? I don't know. Lizzie Hill and all them at My Cosmic Circus, they've been right enough times for me to say, hey, this could be legit. But what do you guys think? Is it Fisk Tower or is it
I'm just more
Mephisto?
curious. I'm like, do they just have a sign like posted around Marvel now? Like if you're filming a Marvel thing that's just like, don't answer questions about Avengers Tower.
Don't do it.
Like at this point, it feels like that might be commonplace. But I don't know.
They even write that. They even have that sign for the writers and Kevin Feige himself. The stories are not allowed to tell us who bought Avengers Tower.
Like I know in the comics, like Mephisto's had like business dealings and has been a businessman. So like if he is the person who bought it, then like okay. But yeah, I expected it to be Fisk or like the Baxter Building or something. But who knows at this point?
Listen, who's running a line of credit to the devil? That's what I want to know. Where is this money coming from for you to buy the tower? I'm sure I'll enjoy that. Whatever happens. I just want BD to be at peace. I want the conspiracy board to get him to pull the pins out and then start up anew when the next thing gets made, because it's never over. But
Yeah.
I like this chapter. We need the season's finale of Brandon Davis is like, where is it lied? Where does it go? I need it to be resolved.
I will sit down like Thanos in a cabin and smile over a grateful universe. When we find out who bought Avengers Tower, I'll just sit there and grin, and they'll play that song in the background. Tom Wamsgams bought Avengers Tower. You're right,
Yeah.
Emma Jacqueline. It's Waystar. It's Waystar Tower. It's Waystar Tower. All right. Well, I don't really have too much more to say about the Daredevil panel. I played Heads Up with Charlie Cox afterwards. And we have the video of that. I've just been waiting to post it. So that's coming to the Phase Zero channel. It'll be on my social channels as well, the Phase Zero Twitter account and all that, and the comic book TikTok, I'm sure. But yeah, Charlie Cox, pretty good at guessing Marvel characters. So that's cool too. So look out for that. All right, we're gonna take a 1 minute break. When we come back, we have lots and lots of Marvel MCU news to discuss, from Clark Gregg to Chris Hemsworth to Sydney Sweetie's Madam Web role. We'll be talking about all that in just a moment. See you there. Welcome back to Phase Zero. We're going to run through some MCU news and some Sony Marvel Universe news. Jenna, kick us off.
Yeah, so Sydney Sweeney confirmed in an interview with Total Film that she is playing Julia Carpenter in Madam Web. This was scuttlebutt on the internet forever. I feel like for the past year that this has been speculated about, especially if you saw the set photos of them filming Madam Web. She said that she can't wait to be able to talk about it, but didn't say anything else. Julia Carpenter is the second Spider-Woman after Jessica Drew. She debuted in Secret Wars, so good luck getting her first appearance. You basically can't. But she has a really interesting kind of history. She becomes the second Madam Web. She has a daughter. She just kind of is like the often forgotten Spider-Woman, but she has this whole very weird, interesting history in and of itself. So what do you guys think?
Madam Web's happening. It's a movie.
Yeah.
Dang, not the cosign.
I feel like Aaron and I are the two like Madam Web cheerleaders on the show.
Listen, you put Beyonce in 2004 and Nokia's in a movie, I will watch it. Okay, there you go, filmmaker Hollywood. That's how we do. Girl, you can come on Phase Zero, talk about it. It's a safe space.
Yeah,
you can talk about whatever you want right here. Please do. I want this movie to be at least like pretty good just on its face, because the character and the concept of like the Web and Life of Destiny and stuff is really cool. So I'm hoping for good things, Sydney. Also,
I think Sydney will be great. I really do. I just feel like Madam Web should have been like a Helen Mirren or an older lady. That's the Madam Web movie I wanted, but it's not what I'm getting. So.
Can you imagine how much money they would have had to give Helen Mirren to come through and explain
she
this?
Just
like
did Fast 10.
Yeah.
How much does David Zaslav personally pay Helen Mirren to be Fast 10?
Yeah, but Helen wanted to be in the Fast movie. She was like
That's
Aspen.
fair.
She was like,
That's
"Put
fair.
me in, coach."
Yeah.
So
I don't mind them going younger with Cassandra Webb only because I remember when this movie was announced, there was like a copy pasta of one of the trades being like, Madam Web's probably going to be about something else when you consider the fact that like old Madam Web just kind of sits in her web and doesn't really do much. And so it's like, I don't mind that they're taking liberties with it in order to make a weird and good movie, but I don't know. This cast is just so good. I'm excited to see whatever they cook up.
The whole movie's a flashback sequence like in Titanic.
If only.
I hope that I'll tell you what, Across the Spider-Verse, its visual and thematic representation of the multiverse. Hey, that's a Sony product right now. I think it is. It puts the other representations and usage of the multiverse to shame. That means Marvel Cinematic Universe, even the Flash was pretty good. I like the Flash. Maybe it doesn't put them to shame, but it is better than them. So maybe, just maybe, there's some sort of collaboration happening at Sony that a piece of what's so good about Spider-Verse can go over to Madam Web and do a good multiverse story. Am I just watching the Morbius trailer again? Maybe.
Am I just watching
Maybe. Listen, I want these movies to be good so bad.
You are just the meme of like, we're so back, it's over. We're so back, it's over. That is just you with Sony like every month.
I'm convinced that your own personal purgatory is just you watching the Morbius trailer over and over and over again.
It's just hope. It's just hope. I'm just Kendall Roy walking into a boardroom thinking he's going to win, and I never do. I saw a really interesting comment, not to derail our news part of the show, but Dalton Madesmith in the comment section said, based on our conversation earlier, that the Mephisto buying Avengers Tower would mean that Tony made a deal with the devil. Tony Stark's still alive, confirmed. He sold his soul, and it's back. And so, therefore, his soul never died, and he's back. All right, we can move on. We don't have to waste any more time on Mephisto.
Jamie, top of your favorite.
My goodness. Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, buckle up because we've got some not really news, but we still get to talk about it. The Cosmic Circus, I believe it was, interviewed Clark Gregg and asked if he's going to return as Phil Coulson, and he said, there's always a chance. I mean, that's kind of the go-to line. What's he going to say? Like, nope, because he doesn't know, because he's come back so many times and he never really like think back to 2012, he never knew what his future held in terms of getting to return. So of course there's always a chance. Chloe Bennett, on the other hand, she talked to Screen Rant and she thinks she won't return, but I have thoughts about that. Here's what she said to Screen Rant. She said, Of course, I would be open to it. Listen, there's a lot of stuff around that. I so deeply love S.H.I.E.L.D.'s fans because it's this tenacity that got the show on the air to begin with. I have not once been approached or asked or involved in anything after I wrap S.H.I.E.L.D., and I am not involved in anything that is coming out. I've not been asked, but I would be more than excited to put on the suit again. And of course, Daisy is a big part of who I am. So I would love to, but I have not been communicated with about it. So what I think about that is I think she totally could be telling the truth. Some people are so convinced she's showing up in Secret Invasion. I don't think that's going to happen, but also I do think Chloe Bennett is the kind of person that would like Andrew Garfield it and have really a fun time lying. I really think that she was really kept hitting it home. So maybe my clown shoes are on. I think that these two are the most likely people from S.H.I.E.L.D. to come back. But I really don't think it's going to happen in Secret Invasion. But if we do ever get Daisy back, I think it's going to be an alternate Daisy. I think it's going to be a mutant Daisy, not the Daisy that we know. But I'll take what I can get. What do you guys think?
If she steps out there during Secret Invasion, that little jingle plays, your body will levitate out of the room.
Well, that's Jim tweeted from his jail cell of a picture of Coulson from Avengers, and it was what if he was a Skrull the whole time? And I was like, all right, that's just all I'm going to be thinking about for the rest of the day. So that could also be a possibility too. Who knows?
I do think that there's those two. I agree with everything Jamie said. Really spot on. Agree that if anybody was going to come back, it would be those two. And if they do come back, it's going to be alternate universe versions. I mean, it's getting clearer and clearer. I wish the Daredevil panel was on video because that's another Marvel TV show, much like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was. And Charlie Cox, I tried to get him to outright say it's a variant, but he did say he's well, this is a new show. This is some version of whatever you saw on Netflix, some of it, none of it, all of it, some version of that happened to the character I'm playing in Born Again. And I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly what he said, but he very much said this, we don't know what happened before. It's not necessarily Netflix, but it could be part of it. So I think it's going to be the same thing with all the Marvel TV characters that will come back. And I imagine some of them will come back. But I do think it's like Jamie said, they're going to be variants because they don't, like Marvel Studios is not going to inherit a bunch of continuity and characters with continuity that they didn't make.
I just want to know if the beginning of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the Nexus event or season 5 is the Nexus event. Just tell me, because season 5, there was no Thanos. That literally has to be a Nexus event. But the first 5 seasons could be in the same universe. I don't care either way. I really don't. It's all canon in the multiverse. Just tell me, Kevin. Just speak to me.
I also feel like with the Ghost Rider of it all, I feel like that's a huge part of it too. Because it's like if you wanted to bring Gabriel Luna back as Ghost Rider, you would kind of have to definitively say like, is the S.H.I.E.L.D. canon or is it not? So, but I don't know. Who knows?
We're going to be debating this till the sun explodes. My God. My Lord.
Meanwhile, Chris Hemsworth is also talking about coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. To Action Cine, Chris Hemsworth was asked about coming back to play Thor again. And he said, I have no idea. I've said it before. It all depends on the type of story. It has to be something unique. What I don't want to do is the same with the character until the end, until there is a feeling of exhaustion in the audience. But if there is excitement for it, I'm always willing to return. If there is a new story, it has to be something very special. I'm sure there's something exciting to tell, so we'll have to wait and see. You have to wait to find it. I had to, at least once, I had to get one sentence in the Australian. It's not as good as Chris's, though. That voice and everything else is just beautiful. So, I mean, Thor's going to be back. We just don't know when. Right? Like, it doesn't.
All I care about, like watching the finale of Ted Lasso last night, all I could think about is when am I getting more Hercules in my eyeballs, and more Thor means more Hercules, and so bring them on back. That's what, like, to me, that's what I'm hearing, and that's what I care about.
I mean, Love and Thunder's credit scene very much wrote the story for Thor 5. The gods sending Hercules after Thor, and they want Thor to fall from the sky. Will that happen? Who knows? I genuinely, that's one of the things that brings me back to this fully announced schedule with Secret Wars just 20 minutes away. It's like, where and when does Thor 5 actually happen? I have no idea.
It's not going to happen in Thor 5.
No.
It's going to be him and Chris Pratt and the legendary Star-Lord. He's like, the only guy I know. Hey, sad bros. Let's go. I healed my trauma. You have a daughter. You kind of healed your trauma. Let's do it. That would be delightful, but I don't know. This is our favorite game, Brandon. And is any of the stuff going to pay off? And I feel like we're getting closer, but because we're doing it this way, we have to wait and find out.
I just have so much PTSD from Love and Thunder. It's just like if and when he comes back, I want Thor back the way that I loved him.
You are so funny. Jenna would love if they woke up in Thor 5 and it was all a dream. There was
honestly,
no love, no none of it.
I am still just so disappointed on so many levels, and every time I think about it more, I just get more and more frustrated. So it's like I want him to come back and like have another chapter, but even I find it funny that he's like, is there a feeling of exhaustion in the audience? Because it's like I was exhausted after Love and Thunder, but I would love to see him back. I just don't know when.
Do we need Taika back?
I don't think we can get Taika back because I feel like he has so many projects. Like he's supposedly doing his Star Wars movie after he does his next movie, and he has so many other things going on. I feel like logistically, if we were going to get a Thor 5 in the next couple of years, I don't think it's going to be Taika.
I never believe Star Wars movies are actually happening. So,
wow.
even when they trot James Mangold and everyone else out on stage, but we'll see. I think Chris Hemsworth will be back. Maybe not in Thor 5, but I definitely think we will see Thor again. All right, we got a couple more topics for today's show, and then maybe we can answer a few questions if the comment section wants to start dropping them in. Go ahead.
Okay. So we got some more production updates. We got Thunderbolts and Wonder Man stopping production while Daredevil Born Again is not. They're just busy talking to Brandon Davis. And the amazing chicken and the egg of, is Deadpool 3 still trying to film or not? Which I don't think. Are we, Jenna, is it still going on?
As far as we know, like there is no report saying that it's shut down. As I tweeted when I retweeted the Thunderbolts and Wonder Man thing, I will be shocked if that movie can go a couple weeks in this current condition and not have to shut down production, given how much they love improvising. But
right. For those of you at home, like Daredevil, like Deadpool, they can't like do any improv with the writer strike going on. And I don't know if you guys have seen your buddy Ryan Reynolds. Yeah,
because technically, if you're changing this, I'm gonna get like the legalese of it wrong. But if you're changing the script on set,
please
then
try.
you're technically crossing the picket line in some regards. And so they've basically said, like, if you're on the set on the day and you are not sticking exactly to the script, then that is somehow crossing the picket line. Which, given how much these movies like to improv, I've kind of felt like it's going to be an inevitability that they won't be able to keep going. Jamie
So
has
wait.
Nervous. Makes
Is
me
it-
nervous. Take
is
a
it like-
pause.
Is it like frowned upon to cross the picket line, or is it like actually illegal?
It's in the bylaws. You're not.
It's
supposed to
also
do it.
because I know Ryan Reynolds like technically has writer's credits under his belt, so it's like that probably would especially affect him.
Sure.
But I don't know the specifics. I just know like that I've immediately been like, what is going to happen with Deadpool? Because I feel like even with like stuff like House of the Dragon and Rings of Power, like they've been supposedly filming without writers on set. But I don't know how much longer you can really do that with something that's as improv heavy as Deadpool.
Interesting. We're gonna start to feel. We're not. I mean, as audiences, we're not gonna feel the effects of this until next year. But I think we're gonna feel it. Things are gonna get delayed, and if they keep making things without writers, well, that's gonna be. I think Jamie's got that that worry under control.
Ugh, you guys, they took Runaways off Hulu and Disney Plus. And like this is all under this writers strike umbrella thing that like what they're fighting for. You can't just erase shows from existence. I'm so mad about this. First of all, I loved Runaways, but I never watched the third season because I've just been kind of sitting on it. I bought the comics. I was like, maybe wait and read the comics, then I'll get to the third season. I thought I had all the time in the world. Oh, what? Nope, it just doesn't exist anymore. And like, and you know, I tweet when Willow, when Disney Plus removed Willow, which I'm so livid about. I tweeted like this: we need more physical media. We need to be able to have this. And somebody responded and they go, this isn't about you getting a DVD. This is about writers needing to get paid more. I was like, I'm pretty sure that the writers who are on strike don't want their projects erased forever. Two things can be true. I know Jenna has feelings about this.
This made me so upset. You can technically like rent it or buy it on Vudu for like $20 a season or something, which like if you are a diehard Runaways fan, I'm sure you are doing that. But like this is so frustrating on so many levels. I love the Runaways so much. I'm quoted on a couple of the trade paperbacks of the most recent run because I loved that that comic so much. It's so frustrating to just have this stuff completely leave with absolutely no warning and to not have the physical media alternative. I get the streaming economy, I get the mechanism here, but the fact that they can't years after the fact be like, here's a box set, here's a DVD, here's something is very sad.
I hate paying for something that I can't actually touch. Like, I don't want to buy a movie. Like, I'll rent a movie, sure, but I don't want to pay $20 to own a movie that is just a digital ownership. I want a physical copy of it, and that should come with a code for a digital version of it. That's fine. I'll throw it in Vudu or whatever app I want to use. But I wish that the physical media existed. I don't like buying something that I can't actually tangibly like hold in my hand. Having a Blu-ray, a 4K disc, being able to put it on a shelf and look at the shelf and have all your movies right there. I love that. I wish the Disney Plus shows would be released. And honestly, it's so stupid maybe to even want to buy them because I already pay for the ability to watch them, but I'd pay $20 for collections of all these things over time and just be able to complete my MCU collection because I have shelves full of movies. Corporate greed is getting in the way of me spending my money.
Well, and I know we've said this on the show a dozen times every time they've changed stuff on Disney Plus, but like it's weird to think like maybe several years down the line, like the episodes of She-Hulk that are on Disney Plus might not be the way that they originally aired. They might tweak something or do whatever.
Yeah,
it's
all
like,
this stuff.
And so it's like the fact that I can't even own a physical copy unless I pirate it or do something. Like the fact that I can't own the thing as it was originally presented is very frustrating and is very weird because like, yeah, it's Runaways for now, but who's to say 5, 10, 15 years down the line, it's not going to be the rest of the MCU Disney Plus shows. Like, who knows at this point? The fact that you can do this is a sign that you could do this with anything. And that is scary and kind of frustrating.
Do it with the last 2 Star Wars movies.
Dang.
What? Look at Jamie.
Yeah, no.
Look at Jamie.
Including Last Jedi?
I have spoken.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. We can't talk
We don't
about
have
this.
time for that.
This is how Phase Zero falls.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Marvel
this is
show.
the series finale of Phase Zero.
Yeah, Last Jedi cannot be discussed on this podcast.
No.
Speaking
can't
of
nobody-
Star Wars, like Willow is Lucasfilm, and we feel like all like the MCU is safe, but when you're taking a Lucasfilm project off months after it ended, to me that means anything goes. Anything we could lose at any point. So
I'm staring into the abyss as a hardened cover of when these things get moved around, and it's become like a funny thing where me and other members of the site have been like, "You think they're gonna pull this thing? Do you think it's gonna just disappear one day and we're not gonna be able to do it?" And it's sad that we have to consume content that way. Like the whole promise of this was that you were supposed to be able to, it was easier and more efficient to give you whatever amount of money a month, and then I can just stream it forever. If you've broken that agreement, then what's the point? I don't understand. And also, I don't know what we've been waiting on an announcement for them Disney Plus shows forever, and I'm more anxious about that than because the way that everyone complains on the internet, we very well could be in a place where all they keep on there is like WandaVision and everything else is gone. Yeah. Like 3 or 4 years down the line. So I hope that they go ahead and give us some DVD releases and stuff. I would like that.
I hope so. One more topic today. Popular report online. Jeff Loveness, writer of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, is reportedly not writing Avengers: The Kang Dynasty anymore. And there's a party in the streets over this. I don't really care. I don't think Jeff Loveness was like the huge problem with Quantumania. I think Quantumania was kind of one of the most visually dull Marvel movies ever. No matter what the script did, the design of the quantum realm and how it was delivered to us was not the script's fault. I think that, there's parts of Quantumania that were pretty good. There were parts of Quantumania that really weren't. So I don't know. I don't think it's all on Jeff Loveness. Like, I also think, and that's like saying Thor: Love and Thunder is all on Taika Waititi. What have you done for me lately attitude. Like, Taika made Ragnarok, which everybody adores. So I don't really know. I just want these Avengers movies to be good. I also think I'm not going to be surprised if Kang Dynasty, I know we talk about this all the time, but with the strike, with the Jonathan Majors stuff, and now with a writer apparently being removed, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty really might not come out in May of 2025. So I think that's a good thing. I stand by my opinion from the beginning that I think these Avengers movies, I don't mind an Avengers movie. I love an Avengers movie. You can make an Age of Ultron type of Avengers movie, but you don't need to make like a saga concluding 2-part Avengers movie before anything else. So I don't know. What do you guys think of this?
The writer of my least favorite Marvel movie is not making another Marvel movie. I feel good about it. So, that's all I'll say about that, because I don't want to be mean.
I will say, like, reading Beatty's interview with Jeff Loveness, like after Quantumania, hearing him talk about Kang Dynasty, he seemed very excited, and he used like Bronze Age Avengers kind of as a point of inspiration, and so I'm sad that we're not getting that anymore, because I really wanted to see his take on bringing all of the Avengers together and what that would even look like. I echo everything Beatty said. I think like there's so many factors right now that make it impossible for this movie to even come out in 2025. At this point, I feel like it shouldn't, because by the time we get through everything that we currently have going on, and as we were saying earlier, all the stories that still need to be told, this movie needs to be pushed back. I feel like otherwise it's just going to not hit in the way that it could.
Go ahead, BD.
No, go ahead. I was just going to probably just repeat what Jenna said.
Well, I don't know. I'm a Cleveland sports fan, so the city does a lot of celebrating of people getting fired. I have long since been inured to celebrating people getting fired, and gone on to my other leading question, where it's just, okay, we fire homeboy. Who are you replacing them with? Mm-hmm. Is always my question, because people in other media and other entities are like, get this person out of there. They suck at this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and who are we replacing them with? What are we doing to replace them with? Are you sure you're not opening Pandora's box and whatever you replace them with is going to be worse? Which I don't think that's the case here, but it has bitten people in the past around me where they were all about, man, we're getting new energy in here. It's a new voice. It's fine. And then they're walking away from the Muni lot with me sad, holding like a tall boy. And I'm like, it's all right, Kevin. It's going to be all right next year. We got it. So I don't celebrate people losing their jobs. He was very nice in that interview and very gracious on this internet where people being terrible to him over a movie that just wasn't great.
Yeah.
Like, people were saying crazy stuff to this man. If you're on social media and in his comments and stuff, I'm like, yo, it's a movie. Calm
That's
down.
terrible. Like,
you know what?
I would never do.
Y'all don't do this too.
Like, I didn't like that movie, but I would never get online and like berate the people who made it. People put their heart and soul into creating stuff. And even like I don't know, have a little tact. Like, you can dislike a movie, but I think that like tagging people and like the showrunner of Yellow Jackets got death threats over the finale. That's insane. People are crazy.
People need to calm down.
Especially when it's somebody who clearly cares and wants the movie to be good so badly. Like Jeff Loveness, you could tell in our interview, in other interviews, like this man wanted that movie to be good. He really cared. And it also seemed like some of that stuff might have got chopped up in the process in the Marvel machine. So I don't know. I don't know that he had a great script for Quantumania. I don't know that he was the problem. Maybe he was. But I as a person, I really liked him. But I don't know. And this isn't confirmed. This is still just a report. But I do expect a lot of changes for the slate of the MCU. I think pumping the brakes is great. I think Bob Iger coming back could be helpful to that. I think Bob Chapek maybe, and the streaming wars just going crazy. Like it was World War streaming. And I think that that's going to calm down because all these studios just went and blasted all their money into making everything. Guess what? That thinned out the audiences everywhere. There is more content than ever before, and the audiences are therefore thinner. And there's more Marvel content than ever before, and some of it's starting to feel like homework to people. So I really do think, slow it down, get it right. You can only release an Avengers movie for the first time once. I know when you put it on Disney Plus, you can change a couple things, but just release a good movie. Take your time. It's got Destin Daniel Cretton still attached, which gives me faith. Avengers: The Kang Dynasty is still in great hands. Hopefully we get a really good writer. I say bring back Marcus and McFeely, man. Everybody gives credit to the Russo brothers, and I give them credit. I think the Russo brothers hit absolute home runs as directors, but there's no denying Marcus and McFeely are, if not the unsung heroes of Winter Soldier, Infinity War, and Endgame. They are truly part of that heroic team that put those movies together. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think push it off until it's in the best condition it can possibly be, which it sounds like they might. I expect Comic-Con this year to be really interesting with Marvel Studios, and hopefully there's no like SAG strike or something. The actors will go. We can hear from them and everything. But because if there is, Comic-Con's gonna be interesting with all the strikes.
Yeah,
gonna be interesting with all the strikes. But that's all we got to talk about today. So let's do our little sign-offs, and if anybody drops a question, we'll answer it real quick. But Jamie, you're at the top of the screen. Anything you want to say to wrap up today's episode of Phase Zero?
Oh my goodness. Is there anything I want to say? The Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies finale drops tomorrow, and it did make me cry. I really enjoyed it, and I have some more interviews with that cast coming up. I just really wanted to get a season 2 because, Grease is my favorite movie of all time. So that's what I'll say.
Aaron, what you got?
She's so happy. I can't even stop her.
I know.
I love Jamie.
I love Jamie too.
Okay.
We got a ton of interviews from the Spider-Verse carpet coming out for y'all. People I don't even remember talking to. It's all a blur. It's going to be great. I'm so excited for you all to see me be happy, and for these people who are very, very clearly proud of what they've made, and they have something to be proud about.
Jenna?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on all social medias. Go read some comics. There's one comic this week that I know is going to be talked about an awful lot, but there are a lot of other really good comics this week. There's DC Pride, there's the Power Girl special, there's some Marvel ones that are great too. So just go read some comics, and yeah, have a good rest of your day.
Yeah. Thank you to all three of you for another awesome show. Thank you to our audience for being a part of it. We love you guys. And Tom Wamsgams, absolute king. We'll see you on Friday with a bonus episode, spoilers for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We'll figure out what time that's going to be. I don't know if it'll be live streamed. We don't like to live stream the spoilers because we don't want to just pop up in people's feeds with things they haven't seen yet, but we'll figure it out, and that will be available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you for 15,000 subscribers. You guys rock, and we will see you on Friday and, of course, next Wednesday as well. Have a good weekend, everybody.